Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 262. Alan, I kept my underpants on. Dershowitz is so unhinged and so shook by the pressure put on him over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein that he's even threatening to sue a TV show now. CBS has some sort of TV show that portrayed Alan Dershowitz or spoke about Alan Dershowitz, and in his mind it was in a negative light, and he is so unhinged, so frazzled right now that he is even lashing out at CBS, threatening to sue them. This is a man who is completely and utterly up against it, and his actions speak much louder than his words. The ranting, the raving, the wild-ass Doc Brown-looking hair on the Tucker Carlson interview. This guy's whole entire narrative is imploding on its face. And the more ridiculous lawsuits he threatens or puts forth into the court, the more he looks like a jackass. And that is exactly what you look like, Mr. Dershowitz. An absolute underpants kept on jerk-off. Your whole entire story is utterly reprehensible, okay? You're a reprehensible human being, in my opinion, and it's not because of who you have defended. It's not because you were Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer. It's because you were being credibly accused of taking part in the sex trafficking ring that Jeffrey Epstein was running, and then to double down on your gross-ass behavior, you go and get Jeffrey Epstein, that NPA, that non-prosecution agreement that covers other parties that might not even have been named, and then you expect nobody to question what you were up to. You expect nobody to call you out for your nonsense. Well, Mr. I kept my underpants on, I have news for you. Those days are over. You better stick to Newsmax, stick to your echo chambers, because actual society, the people that you scorn and look down your nose upon, well, we're on to your nonsense. We know exactly who you were hanging out with. We know what the charges are against you and what the allegations are against you. And we know that you have not brought any sort of evidence to the table that would prove your side of the story. But yet, at the same time, you continue to trash talk, demean, and bully these survivors every chance you get. And you get away with it because these limp-wristed, Charmin-hearted, so-called journalists let you. And it's tiresome, it's sickening, and it's gross that you're given a platform to continue to run your yap unchallenged. Now, I don't think you should be shut up. I'm not part of the whole cancel culture situation. I think that you should be able to speak, but you shouldn't be given a forum where you can trash these girls and defame them and talk shit about them to a people who probably don't even know much about the story. That is not acceptable. You can tell your story, but it must be challenged. Both sides must be presented. And for too long, only Alan, I kept my underpants on Dershowitz's side of the story was represented in the media. And now that that narrative has been snatched, now that these girls have come forward and they're standing tall and they're standing together in unity against Alan Dershowitz, him and his goofy ass hair are absolutely frazzled and shook. And you'll see another example of that by the article we're about to read. Tonight's article is from AboveTheLaw.com. The headline, Alan Dershowitz claims he was defamed by a TV character and threatens a real-life lawsuit. The author of this article is Elizabeth Dye. If you can't take getting your chops broke by a TV show and you're a public figure and you're always wading into these controversy-filled cases, then there's something wrong with you, okay? because you put yourself out there, Mr. Dershowitz, and then you expect nobody to question what you have going on. You expect nobody to question your past behavior and your past statements of wanting to lower the age of consent. And then, when someone breaks your chops on a TV show, you threaten to sue them. You are straight up bitch-made. This article was authored by Elizabeth Dye. Who wants to talk some more about Alan Dershowitz getting a massage in his underpants at billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein's house? Let's go with nobody. No one on earth needs the visual of Dersh and his skivvies getting rubbed down by an, in quotes, old Russian lady, and we don't want to think about his perfect sex life either. Hardest of passes. And I think I have to agree with Elizabeth Dye here. Thinking about this old crypt keeper looking MF in his skivvies, getting a massage by anyone, an old Russian lady, a young Russian lady, half a Russian lady, 3 Polish ladies, whatever it might be, is an absolute disgusting thought. This is a gross-ass looking man, and the only thing that's grosser than his exterior is what is on the inside. And yet, the distinguished law professor will not shut up about it, so here we are, again. Currently he's got his knickers in a twist. Shut up, he wears them all the time. Because of an episode of CBS's The Good Fight, in which a fictional attorney who is supposed to have previously represented Epstein refers to Professor Dershowitz as a shyster. Oh no, he was called a shyster. This dude is accused of partaking in a sex trafficking ring, and he's worried about suing CBS because a fictional lawyer called him a shyster? In the TV show, mind you. Alan Dershowitz is completely unhinged, he is shook, and he is being gotten to. Keep up the pressure. Probably about the time he ditched me for Dershowitz, says the character played by actor David Alford. At least I didn't get a massage like that, shyster. And for the purposes of any potential lawsuit, shyster is just my opinion, not a statement of fact. And again, this is Alan Dershowitz for you in all of his glory. He talks about the First Amendment and how he's a big champion of it. But anytime anybody loads up their cannon and fires off an assault, a verbal assault on Alan Dershowitz, it's a whole new ball game. He's going to flex his law muscles. I'll take you to court. Man, shut up. Nobody cares, okay? Nobody gives a damn about you, Alan Dershowitz. Nobody cares about your connections. Nobody cares about your so-called esteemed career at Harvard. It's all tired, and frankly, none of it matters considering what you are being accused of. The idea that a fictional character can get away with defaming somebody is really a new one, Dershowitz told Variety, which printed his letter and CBS's response in full. You either have to have an entirely fictional account in which they make up the names of everybody, or a truthful account. You can't mix the genres. When you do mix the genres, the law of defamation applies. What an absolute limp-wristed, Charmin-hearted, bitch-made, underwear, tighty-whitey wearing scuzzball. Your ego is so fragile that you're worried about being called a shyster on a fake-ass TV show that I doubt anybody even watches? You sorry-ass scumbag. Or, as his lawyer, Imran H. Ansari, put in his demand that CBS retract the episode and issue a public apology for defaming his client. Clearly, the dialogue and the context in which it is made, with words loaded with innuendo, such as massage. Did he get a massage? Yes or no, sir? Yes, he did. He's admitted to it. All right. Epstein, was he Epstein's lawyer or not, sir? Yes, he was. Did he hang out with Epstein in his private time? Yes, he did. Did he borrow one of Epstein's houses? Yes, he did, sir. Next one. He's just an absolute moron, this guy, okay? An absolute moron. The Virgin Islands, in combination with the word shyster, falsely suggests that Professor Dershowitz engaged in sexual conduct, i.e. a massage, with an underage girl associated with Epstein, and is a crooked, unscrupulous, and lying about it, a shyster. Well, yeah, that is what the court of public opinion believes. That is where the evidence has led everybody. Okay? Guess what? That's how this works. What, is the public not supposed to have an opinion? Should the public just shut their mouths and keep quiet and let this travesty continue? You had your decades to run around like everything was going to be okay, Dershowitz. You thought you had your pass. You thought that you outsmarted everybody. You had this whole entire plan and plot hatched with your boy Jeffrey, and everything has been turned up on its end. The whole house of cards has been tilted over, and it's coming down on top of you. From the one-liner about just my opinion, Ansari infers consciousness of guilt, calling it indicative that CBS knew the statements were defamatory, yet sought, albeit weakly, to skirt liability. Because sure, why not, right? Again, you know what? That's an opinion. The First Amendment protects speech in America, and if he does try and bring this case, he's going to be laughed at by the judge, in my opinion. The same way Preska's been laughing at him and smacking his attorneys around, the same shit's going to occur if he brings this ridiculous lawsuit against CBS, because CBS isn't going to back down. They have a lot of money as well, and I'm sure that they still have a bad taste in their mouth over Epstein and his ties to Trump. I mean, Dershowitz and his ties to Trump, so you know CBS is looking for a hatchet job as it is, and I highly doubt that CBS will back down in a situation like this. We can only imagine that Jonathan Anshel, Viacom CBS Media Network's executive VP and general counsel, was delighted to have this one land on his desk. It's not every day you get to defend a television character from charges of defaming a world-famous nudist law professor. If we understand your letter correctly, you are complaining about a line spoken by a fictional character in an episode of the fictional series The Good Fight. You make this complaint on behalf of Professor Alan Dershowitz, a public figure who has long been associated with Jeffrey Epstein and who has admitted on television to receiving a massage from a woman at Epstein's mansion, the same thing I mentioned a second ago. The whole entire thing is ludicrous on its face that Dershowitz would actually even try and challenge this. Is this guy for real? In the non-fictional world, these factors require us to decline your request that we withdraw the episode, and our correspondence could end right here. Nevertheless, out of respect for Professor Dershowitz, we explain more fully below. Noting that the very precedents cited in Ansari's letter affirm there is no liability for expressions of opinion and that viewers are generally familiar with dramatized shows in which scenes, conversations, and even characters are fictionalized and imagined, Anshel concludes. In other words, as one might explain to a small child, the series, its characters, and the things that they say, well, they're all make-believe. And this is the sort of thing you see from people who are grasping at straws, who will do anything at this point to try and stem the tide of bad publicity and worse coming down the pipe and staring at them, their nude-ass body, and their gross-ass face directly in the eyes. Because, folks, this is only the beginning for Dershowitz. Wait until these other documents start to roll out. Wait until we start to see more receipts. Look at the pressure he's facing now when we just got the documentation unsealed recently, even though most of us knew about that stuff. Look at the pressure that Dirty Dersh is under now by everybody. He's being assaulted from all quarters, and he should be. This is a man who needs to answer for these allegations under oath. Needless to say, CBS will not be apologizing or yanking the episode anytime soon. Will Dersh make good on his threat to sue to avenge his honor? Well, we are talking about the same guy who has engaged in protracted defamation litigation to remind America once again of his association with a known pedophile. So, odds are good. And look, the author of this article, I like the sarcasm she tossed in. Elizabeth Dye, very, very well, a job well done here. I like the bit of comedy thrown in here to bring some levity to a serious situation. But at the end of the day, it is all so ridiculous on its face. The whole Alan Dershowitz suing fest. He's such an absolute jackass. He thinks he's defending his name here, but in reality, what he's doing is just digging his hole deeper. And I don't know about you folks, but I cannot wait to see it start to get filled in. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. All of the links that pertain to this episode can be found in the description box. All right, everybody, we'll be back tomorrow and we'll pick up where we left off.